Iran has all the cards. Not some of the cards, half of the cards, most of the cards, all the cards. Iran has so many cards, it's not even worth my getting out of bed, going to light myself and record myself properly on this. But the first thing we want to clear up is what's going on, which has nothing to do with what you read in the papers. It has nothing to do with nukes, a nuclear enrichment, whatever you want to call it, bombs. It has nothing to do with ballistic missiles. It has nothing to do with supporting the protesters and bringing democracy to Iran. It has nothing to do with those three things. And those three things are used as reasons, one on a Wednesday, one on a Thursday, one on a Friday, and they repeat every 3 days, or they might double a day. Trump, I don't know why he decides to use one or the other. I guess somebody whispers it in his ear, but it has nothing to do with any of those things. Now, this is, when I say this, it's on one hand, your brain is going to resist it because you never read about it. On the other hand, you're going to think, of course, well, I already know that. I mean, we all know it, but we can't say it. It's right. I mean, from the Israeli point of view, like what do Israelis have? Like, what is their business, right? I mean, they live in a land of sand. They have no oil. I mean, they found some gas, which they use themselves. So they have no oil or gas or anything. So the Israelis, the Ashkenazi Jews, for the most part, they've made, I mean, historically, they make money with diamonds, rare gems. They make money transporting oil and gas and other goods. Israel has a huge weapons, I forget what percentages, but it's much larger than the United States, percent of capita. So Israel, is basically, criminal traders with an army attached, right? So, I mean, that's what they do. And I'm not saying that in a pejorative sense. I mean, the United States are a bunch of criminals too. I mean, let me just give you the basics of what happened in U.S. history, right? I mean, you had the colonists. They wanted land. The French were preventing them. They start a war with the French. Britain comes, defeats the French, but it won't let the colonists take the land. Then Britain wants to tax the colonists for the war, and the colonists don't want to pay. So they don't want to pay for the war they started, and they revolt. And it had nothing to do with independence or democracy. All that was slapped on later. When the British came to try and get the guns from Concord, there was no organization in the United States for independence. There was just anger, but there wasn't any organization. There were just people that didn't want to pay taxes and wanted to make money and wanted to get land. That was it. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just going to say, hey, no shade on Israel, right? Because the United States was formed in the same way. So what Israel wants is, like the colonists wanted in the beginning, is they want more land. And more than that, they want to control trade. They don't want Britain controlling their trade, putting taxes on them. And what is Iran to Israel? A big effing tax. Because everything Israel tries to do in the Middle East, transporting oil, resources, gold, diamonds, whatever, the IRGC of Iran, which is also a bunch of, criminals, they're doing it too. So, I mean, I don't want to cheapen what I'm saying by saying it's two mafias going at each other, but it's two mafias going at each other, okay? So, or if you don't want to say it in that way, it's just two business entities, right? So you have the business group of the Ashkenazi Jews against the Persians, okay? And they're both in business of oil and all that stuff in the region, and Iran is a thorn in Israel's side. Then from the U.S., to keep the petrodollar, strong and to keep control of the oil in the Middle East, it uses Israel as sort of its local bully, right? They call it the land-based aircraft carrier. So the U.S. has interests in keeping Iran down, which Israel uses. But you have to understand from Israel's point of view. And they say, oh, Iran is developing nukes and, they're a threat to our existence. No, they're no threat to Israel's existence. They're just a threat to Israel's business, to their trade, to whatever. They're like the Britain to the Americans, right? Or the French to the colonists and their part, wherever. It's just the same stupid thing. So Israel wants to basically take Iran down a peg. They want the U.S. to attack Iran, and the U.S. also already wants to attack Iran because of 1979 and because of their need of control. Iran is also a thorn in the United States' group of criminals who are trading oil and whatever in the Middle East and all this kind of stuff. So Iran, it's been going back and forth like this, right? Where Israel will attack Iran and the United States will do sanctions. So all this stuff, again, it's not the government. The government doesn't care, has never cared. Governments work for wealthy people, always have, always will. This has nothing to do with protecting democracy, creating democracy, anything like that. This all just paste it on. It's just simple economics, commercialism, power, whatever. Again, taxes. If another country's in a way, it taxes you. Like if you're a mafia, right? And another mafia moves into your territory and you need to send more thugs out to fight them or whatever, it's a tax on you. So Iran is a tax on Israel. It's a tax on the U.S. And so they want to get rid of it. They want to push them out. So the reason that Iran has all the cards is because they don't have the power, the muscle to do it. Because warfare has changed. It's all missile and drone based. And what has Iran been working on for 30 years? Missiles and drones. You got to hand it to them. That's all they've been working on. And what has the United States and Israel been working on? Fancy fighter aircraft like the F-35. So, okay, Israel and the United States have the F-35, the stealth plane, blah, 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 blah. And, that's what they've been working on. And the Ukraine war proves what we already know. Well, don't already know, but those don't work anymore, right? That's why we couldn't have a fly zone in Ukraine in the beginning. It doesn't work. Missiles can shoot them down. We're in the world of missiles and drones, and Iran is way ahead of the United States. So, getting back to our mafia thing, we have another mafia, the Chinese mafia. Now, what do they want? They want oil. They want oil and gas, and they buy like 80 to 90% of Iran's oil and gas. So, to the business people of China, Iran is a national security interest. It is core to their business of what they do. So, any threat on Iran is a threat to China. Now, China isn't going to arm Iran. It's not going to get into any war directly with Israel, the United States. But what's it going to do? It's going to give whatever defensive or intelligence stuff it can give to Iran so it can defend itself. So China has these intelligence ships in the area. It's giving it satellite data. It might be giving it targeting data for their missiles. I don't know. But behind the scenes, China is giving Iran everything it needs to defend itself. And you know what the United States and Israel can do about that? Nothing. They can't say anything, right? Because look at Ukraine and whatever, right? So they can't say anything. They're getting stuff from China. Iran already has all the stuff buried in the mountains or whatever. So what is the United States going to do? It can't bring its aircraft carriers close to Iran because it couldn't even bring them close to Yemen, for crying out loud. And even staying a couple hundred miles away from Yemen, they lost a couple of aircraft, one aircraft, flying off the deck, and I think another was friendly fire. Anyway, just even Yemen attacking it from a couple hundred miles away, made the U.S. give up. So why you think that the U.S. can get the Navy close to Iran is beyond crazy. So what I think they're planning with the U.S. is they're going to launch a bunch of bombers and fighters, and they're going to bomb Iran as much as they can. But Iran has said, hey, listen, this time we're not going to like play cute here and allow you to do it. And then we hit some like token missiles towards Qatar. No, we're going to go all out. So what's the U.S. going to do now? Right? Well, what's Israel going to do now? They can't do anything. They're weak. And this is just it. Like Israel, right? When they entered Gaza, when they dropped all these freaking bombs on Gaza, right? And this is all complex reasons, right? What did it show? They're ineffectual. The thing people don't get is that Israel, the IDF, they're incompetent. They're children. They're poorly trained. They're poorly organized. I mean, when they show videos of all these, the soldiers like smoking a hookah while they're blowing up a building and all this stuff, that's bad for a military to do. It's always bad. Do not rub it in the other guy's face. It just doesn't get you anywhere. It just gets them more pissed off. So now all the Middle East hates Israel with a passion. With a passion. Don't read anything. Everybody hates them. I mean, everybody, really, who has any sense. I mean, nobody likes to see an underdog killed. Women and children bombed who are defenseless. Sorry. Nobody. The only people who like it are the people that hate them. The people that have been brought up and propagandized in Israel to hate them. So sure, yeah, the Israelis like it, but nobody else likes it. And it just shows weak power that you can't restrain your own soldiers from doing that in your own public. So again, Israel's just out of control. They're losing every freaking battle. It looks like they win. They don't. They lose. They might win short term, like kill some guy or whatever, but long term they lose, and now they're super effing frustrated. So they want to get it around like something big because, again, just like they killed all went after the Palestinians in Gaza. That is because of their own incompetence and their own economy going down. They couldn't afford to guard Gaza, since they just took it out on them, right? It's the same thing. Now Israel miscalculated. The world doesn't want to do business with them, and they want to say, okay, well, if you get Iran away from us, then we can do more business. No, nobody's doing business with you. So, but anyway, they want to go after Iran. It's the same thing in the United States, like Trump. The politicians don't want to talk about the Epstein files. They don't want to talk about ICE. So they have all their reasons to get into a war with Iran. And plus, there are people in the defense industry that are still like, don't believe, like Max, people like him who say, the F-35 doesn't work really well, or that our Navy stinks, is underfunded, or don't believe. Once we get into war, things might go bad, but we'll adjust. We'll bounce back. It'll be okay. This stuff will work. We won't know anyway. We won't know if it works until it works. So we have to use it at some point. Let's use it now. So that's what they're saying, right? So eventually, they're going to do something. And by the way, Iran might not do anything. And so the final thing I want to say here in this video is that even if the U.S. drops all kinds of bombs in Iran, it's not going to hit anything, and it's probably not going to do much damage. And even if Iran did nothing, after 2 weeks of the U.S. bombing, it would run out of stuff. It would have to go home to replenish for whatever. And the whole world is going to see it. And the whole world is going to say, oh, look, you bombed these people. You killed these people, just like Gaza, for nothing. But the more important thing, and this is the thing I want to get across. Yes, right now in the news, it's all about, you're bombing women and children, whatever. But everybody has a sense that the U.S. is impotent. And even if they bomb and they do everything, and Iran doesn't really respond, which, by the way, over the years, Iran does not respond very much to these provocations. Why? Because, again, they're a mafia. They want to do business. They don't want to get into a war. None of these people want to get into a war. They just want to do more business. So anyway, even if the U.S. does all that, everybody in the region is going to be like, what are they going to do to us? What can they do? They're helpless. They took one guy from Venezuela and nothing changed. One guy and his wife. I mean, that's it. That's the extent of their power. They can basically bribe and pay off people and take one guy. And do you think in Iran, if they they take Khomeini. I mean, that would be bad, but he's an old guy. No, there'd be another guy. I mean, it'd be all right. They could kidnap him, and believe me, life will go on. So yeah, it doesn't make a difference how Iran responds or whatever happens. They've lost already. They have all the cards. The U.S. is impotent in the region. Impotent. Everybody knows it. We just haven't seen the proof of it. And if they do attack and Iran takes out one Navy ship, what's the U.S. going to do about it? What? I don't think anything. What can they do about it? They don't have the Navy. They don't have the support ships. They don't have any of this stuff. So anyway, I just want to do like a little rant video to say Iran has all the cards. It's all about business. It's the business of the Israelis against the Iranians again and the Americans. They're all businesses. They're all like taxes on each other in a sense. And the U.S. and Israel wants to get rid of the Iran, which is in their side business-wise for doing pipelines. Like Israel wants to do these pipelines in the region or whatever. It wants to expand its influence. It wants to make more money. So Iran is in the way of Israel making more money, which is hard for Israel because it has nothing to freaking sell except weapons. So they want to, basically get rid of Iran. They're not going to be able to get rid of Iran. It's all over. And, it is what it is. And the threat is mightier than the sword. And we have a bunch of freaking idiots in government. And so nothing good can come out of this. Not that they're not that they're brilliant themselves. So anyway, it's not anything I want. I don't want to see anybody die. But anyway, hope this is interesting, and see you next time with more lighting and I guess a nice camera.